probably on X. Double check that.
Replay 2? No. Well, that's only 5 minutes.
Well, apparently it was
we're
working.
back on. Welcome to our live show.
On X? I think it is working on YouTube. There it is. It's up. Okay. All right. So we are live streaming. Thanks to everyone who joined.
And, took the, time to, like, what the hell? Why aren't they on yet? And so we're on now. And
you never know that we've been sitting up at our desk for the last 2 hours trying to figure this all out. And then Rumble crashes.
Yeah, that sucks. Hopefully, eventually we'll be on Rumble because I'm going to try not to get us kicked off of YouTube, but no guarantees. If not, we're on X as well. Just look for @TheLostCommon, and you can watch us on X. So, yeah.
That's right. Let's see here.
Are you still trying to do Rumble?
I'm just...
I want to see if it,
see
if it works on my phone.
And you expecting much? Nope, it's not. You expecting much from tonight's debate?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if Biden's alive, they'll say it's a win for Biden, no matter what.
So we already won?
Yeah. If he can stay alive and not fall asleep. And they're not expecting much out of Biden. So no matter what, they're going to say it's a win for Biden.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I'm interested to see how they phrase all the questioning and how that's all going to work. Like, because he can't backtalk.
Yeah, how many times do you think they're going to ask Trump about January 5th?
Probably not many at all, but I bet January 6th will come up a couple times.
Or 6. Yeah, he's 6, not 5.
I'm just saying.
Whatever, man. Eat it.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's starting.
It is
shots
starting.
Of Atlanta, so yeah, it should be interesting. I'll be interested to see how Trump does. I think if he keeps it presidential and just talks about how he's going to fix things and what's going wrong, I think because he has to nail it, knock it out of the park, and like you said, Biden basically needs to not pass out.
Yeah, exactly. So Biden's probably. How many drugs do you think Biden's is on? Just asking.
I'm pretty sure there's a decent amount of Adderall.
Yeah,
and
little Hunter's white powder.
Yeah, something to keep him going.
Yeah, keep going.
I guess he hasn't done much of anything in the last week or so.
Is that Jake Tapper?
Yes.
He's a weird looking dude. Is it that haircut? It's the haircut. It's like the Conan O'Brien, wave of the hair.
Yeah, I think he's copying. That's a copyright haircut.
Weird.
So, I'm not even 100% sure. Oh, we can turn the audio on.
Between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate.
The rules of the debate, Kevin.
Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss.
Rule number 1.
Determines their positions. Each candidate
Trump
will have
loses,
2 minutes
no
to
matter
answer
what.
a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up.
I'm not 100.
Response.
I'm not
at the moderator's discretion.
Overly upset with the muting of the mics, though.
His microphone will be turned on.
I hate when they talk over each other.
Yeah, I'd rather just hear their answers, give them a rebuttal, stuff like that.
Gives me a chance to talk over people.
Well, I'm interested to see if they cut him off during a question because he didn't, say they asked him about January 6th and he comes up with his own
pre-written notes, props, or contact.
He flips it and talks about it you want to talk about attack on democracy? Let's talk about everything the Democrats have done this year.
Yeah.
And then oh no, that's not what I asked you. And that's what I'm wondering if they'll use that for muting. Nope, we don't like your answer, so we're going to mute you. So that part will be interesting. Well, he made it to the podium, so that's good.
Yeah.
Scanning the room for the nobody that's there.
It's just funny that nobody's watching us yet.
Yeah, I know there's at least 2 people.
Weird.
Unless they dropped off. But.
They might have.
Oh, I need to turn on chat.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120.
I think it's more
and
than
typical
that.
home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president.
Oh, yeah.
What Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
That's one of the one-liners that he was talking
There were
about.
no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in a position where we have 800,000.
It seems like he's running through his answers pretty quick.
There's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class
Maybe
people
they gave him the questions already.
I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I come from a
possibly.
household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with.
Apparently,
those
I
problems.
keep flashing in and
We're
out
going
on
to make sure
YouTube.
that we reduce the
You
price
do.
of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all.
Didn't
By
do
the
much
time
at
he
all,
left,
Kevin.
Things were in chaos. Literally chaos.
Yeah.
And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a
Didn't create
situation
any
where
jobs. They just
now
came back from the
we
pandemic.
brought down the price of prescription
Well, it's
drugs.
the same
which
thing
is
with
a major
inflation.
issue for many people.
They literally stopped
$15
counting food,
for,
gas, and
a insulin
housing
shot as opposed
because
to
it was making
$400.
Carter look super
No
bad.
senior has to pay more than $200 for any
Inflation's
drug, all the
actually
drugs they can
still
consume
up like
beginning next year.
Probably, I don't know,
The
what would be up like
situation is making-
20,
I mean, it makes it
30%
available to everybody, to all Americans.
if you added
So
food
we're
and
working
housing and all that.
to bring down the price of around
Yep.
the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you, President Trump.
And
We have the greatest economy in the history
yes,
of our
I think
country.
he is a robot.
We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID
Yeah, live
mess.
chat isn't working. on
He
our
created
end.
mandates that was a disaster for
In
our
the
country.
studio.
But other than that, we had
It's not
given
working.
them back a
Not in the studio,
country
but there
where
is
the stock
chat on
market actually
YouTube,
was
so-
higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs.
The funny thing about COVID is most of
he
the
has
people
not
that
done a
jack
good
that up
job.
the
He's done a
most.
poor job, and
other than,
inflation's killing our
well,
country.
Scarf
It is
Lady and,
absolutely killing us.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest
What's his
economy in
face?
the world. He's
Yeah.
the only one
Can't-
who thinks that, I think.
can't remember his name.
Also thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, you know, the fact of the matter
What the hell's
is
that dude's name?
we find ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people had a
He
problem
raised a
with
deficit larger than
tax
any
cuts.
president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began. It's Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did
So
something
his
that
game
was
plan is
significant.
to
And the
use
military, you know, when
Yeah.
he was
Just info
president,
from
we were still
COVID.
killing people. in
That's basically
Afghanistan.
what he's doing.
We didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. Truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can. You
Am I
want
allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to
that's
follow
nice.
up.
So
You
you
want to
can't
impose
respond.
a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China, It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back. And he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited
Right. Call him out.
9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like
True.
a bunch of people that
Yeah,
didn't know
that's
what
exactly
they were
what
doing. And they
happened.
don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan.
he's
But
gotta
we were
get that
getting
in
out
there.
with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national
He's
debt
fantastic.
soared to record highs.
Yeah.
And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt. Well, so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt.
How much
So
of that
former
was
President
COVID?
Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after
It's
COVID,
called
it was so strong
economics.
that we were able to get
It
through
is called
COVID
economics.
much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax
Why?
spurred. Now, when
You know
we
where-
cut the
where he's at.
taxes, as
Look
an
at Biden.
example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus
He's like,
beyond
okay. He
that.
said,
We took in more revenue with
tax.
much less tax.
Yeah.
when am I
And
supposed to
companies
say
were
to
bringing back
tax?
trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before. And we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember,
Well, looks
more
like I
people
blacked out
died
YouTube again.
under his
Yeah,
administration,
you keep blacking
even
out.
though we had largely fixed it.
I don't get what the
More
deal is
people
with that.
died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it. Something which a lot of people don't like to
I don't know,
talk
I'm probably
about.
narrowing
But
my
yet far more
bandwidth even though
people
I'm
dying
hardwired.
in his
but-
administration.
Maybe.
He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine.
That's right, Kevin.
And
Play
he
that
did a
right
very
over the
poor
mic.
job, just a very poor
Yeah,
job.
sorry.
And I will tell you, not
Am I
only
doing the
poor
same
there,
thing on
but throughout
X?
the entire world, we're no
I'm
longer
trying to watch you on
respected as a
both so I can
country.
read the
They
comments
don't
because they're not
respect our
coming through
leadership.
on here.
They don't respect the United States anymore.
I'm
We're
just
like a
wondering if
third
I'm
world
blanking out
nation
on X,
between
too.
weaponization of his election, trying to go after his
I don't
political
know.
opponent. All of
I'm
the
reading the
things he's
comments on
done, we've
YouTube, though.
become like a third world nation, and it's a
I read
shame.
him.
The damage he's
I
done to our
didn't.
country, and I'd love to ask him and will why
Nobody
he
cares
allowed
what you want to
millions
say.
of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one.
And
Number two, he got $2
Take
trillion
COVID spending
tax
out.
cut, benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example,
yeah, I'm just
we
going to
have
tax the
1,000
shit out of
billionaires in
everybody.
America.
Yeah.
I mean, billionaires in America. And what's
We
happening?
got too many
We're in a
billionaires.
situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in
I'm going to
taxes.
bring him down
If
to
they just paid
1,000 is.
24%, 25%, either one of those numbers.
Like his whole
They
point
raised
about trying to
$500
fix
million,
whatever bullshit is he's going
$1 I
to
should
say
say,
he actually
in a
does
10-year
tax the shit
period.
out of.
We'd be
the
able to
billionaires
wipe out
take
his
all their
debt.
money.
We'd be able to help
He's,
make sure that
he's
all
going to
those
spend
things we
it,
need to do,
which is going to make
child
inflation
care,
go higher.
elder care, making
Yep.
sure that we continue to
Basically
strengthen-
keeping everybody
strengthen our healthcare
perpetually
system,
poor.
making sure that we're able to make
Yeah.
every single solitary person
That's the Democrat way, buddy.
eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID.
What-
Excuse me,
yep.
with dealing with everything we have to do with.
Yeah, just dealing with everything we have to deal with on the thing.
If we finally
And
beat
reboot.
Medicare,
Yeah.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Please.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in.
Good
They're
save,
putting them on
Tapper.
Medicare,
Has
they're
it been-
putting them on
has it been a minute?
Social Security. They're going to destroy Social
let me a
Security.
minute.
This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security.
I mean, I'm
These
not a huge
millions and
fan for
millions of
Biden, but
people
this is
coming in,
embarrassing for
they're
everyone
trying to
in the
put them
country.
on Social Security. He will
Oh, yeah.
wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was
We
right
already
in the way
wiped
he
out Social
finished that
Security.
sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States
I just
of
want to
America.
make
We're
sure
no
that
longer respected.
all of our live viewers
They don't like us.
notice the
We
text
give them
underneath our
everything they
names,
want, and they
'cause that is
they think we're
100%
stupid.
true.
They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us.
I see
What
why
this
you're like
man
that.
has done is absolutely criminal.
I don't know. It was better than what
Thank
you had on
President
there
Trump.
before.
Anna?
This is the first presidential
Yeah, that's
election
true.
since the Supreme
That's 'cause we're
Court
going on
overturned
YouTube.
Roe
You
v.
keep
Wade.
blacking out.
This morning, the court ruled
both
on
X
yet
and
another
YouTube?
abortion case,
I don't know about X.
temporarily
Are you on
allowing
YouTube?
emergency abortions
Yes.
to continue in
I'm on
Idaho,
X then.
despite that state's restrictive ban.
No one
Former
watches
President
us on
Trump,
X.
you take credit for the decision
Well,
to
I just wanna know if it's a
overturn Roe v.
YouTube
Wade,
thing or
which
if it's-
returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However,
I mean,
the
it's 'cause
federal
I'm
government still
live
plays a role
streaming
in
to
whether or not
live
women
things
have
Yeah, you're
and
access
blacking out.
streaming.
to abortion pills.
Yeah, so it's
They're used
I don't
in about 2/3 of all abortions. As
I even
president,
brought the
would
good
you
laptop
block
home.
abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their
I'm
decision
kind of
to
wondering
have done
what
that, and I will not block it. And if you look at
Biden's
this whole
thinking when he's just
question
sitting
that
there
you're
like-
asking, complex, but not really
Ice cream,
complex.
ice
51
cream,
years
ice cream,
ago,
little girl, ice cream.
we had Roe v.
ice cream.
Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back
like,
to
oh,
the
there's
states.
some hair.
Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody
Oh.
wanted it back. Religious
It-
leaders. And what I did
something-
is I
something
put
struck
three
a
great
nerve.
Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade
Something struck a
and
nerve.
moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was,
Look at
an end result.
Look
It was
at
a
him.
little bit more liberal
what?
than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say.
I think
the same
he.
thing.
I think they
Yeah.
damn near.
Texas is different. Florida
Who
is
is that
different.
guy?
But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the
I think he
states
pretty
control
well
it. That's
memorized
the
most
vote
of the
of
stuff that
people.
he's supposed to say.
Like Ronald Reagan,
probably
I
has on
believe in
cards.
the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the
I
exceptions
just know
for
that
rape, incest, and the life
abortion
of
should be
the
left
mother.
up to
I
the
think it's very
states, and we
important.
need to have a
Some
cultural
people don't
shift to
follow your
where
heart, but
there's
you
less
have to get
need for
elected
people to
also.
use
And
abortion
because
as a
that has
form
to
of
do
birth
with
control.
other things.
Yeah.
You got to get elected. The problem
But
they have
as far
is
as
they're
like
radical
the feds,
because
it's not
they
in the
will
Constitution. It
take
should
the
just
life
be
of a
on.
child in the
It
8th
should
month,
just
the
be the
9th
state's
month, and
decision.
even after
I
birth.
agree.
I don't agree with it.
If you look at
I think
the
it's
former
horrible.
governor of
I think we have
Virginia,
a cultural
he
problem.
was willing to
and
do
that's what we need
this.
to work
He
on.
said, "We'll put the
Yep.
baby aside, and we'll determine what we do with the baby," meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that
This is
the vast
terrible.
majority of constitutional
Terrible.
supporters supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about that.
What the hell
Here's
is he
the deal.
talking about?
What is he rambling about?
By their in-laws, by their spouses.
That's what they always go
Brothers
to.
and
They always go to
sisters.
rape and incest.
Just-
Yeah, but that happens, I think, less than 2% of the
And
time.
they try to arrest them when they
Yeah,
cross
and
state
nobody's
lines.
making
Thank
that
you.
argument.
There have
No.
been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous.
I don't even
place
know why the hell
anywhere
he
in
would
the
bring
world.
it up
Considered
unless
the
they
most
told him you
dangerous
should bring it
place
up
anywhere
first.
in the world. And he
How these
opened it
people
up,
died
and these
because of
killers are
you.
coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women.
Biden looks
And it's a terrible
horrible.
thing. As far as the abortion
Yeah,
is
he looks
concerned,
rough.
it is now back with the states. The states
How's
are
he going to
voting.
make it another
In many cases,
hour and
it's
15 minutes?
frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases,
Well,
it's the
maybe
opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing
gets
it
an
back to the
injection
vote of
during
the
the two
people, which
commercial
is
breaks?
what
I don't know.
everybody
Yeah,
wanted.
we'll go-
including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have, everybody wanted brought back.
Yep.
Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back. And many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people. And that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can
Say
obtain
what?
an abortion. Do you support
That's
any
disgusting.
legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
What is
I
going
supported
on?
Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put
Yeah,
the
I
baby
can't believe
down,
that
then we
guy said
decide
that.
what to do
Yeah.
with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody
But they're
wants
gonna make
that to
it
happen.
comfortable,
Democrat
Kevin.
or
I mean, if you're going to
Republican,
go
nobody
to rape
wants it
and
to happen.
incest, and you should go the other
That is
extreme.
simply
On.
not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the
So
circumstance.
there is
Only
restriction.
a woman's life is in danger. She's going to die.
That's not what
That's
Roe
the
v.
only
Wade was.
circumstance
Roe
which
v.
that can
Wade
happen.
was what
But we
allowed
are not
abortion
for
to turn
late-term
into
abortion, period.
birth
Yeah.
control.
Period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51
This
years.
seems a little
Constitutional
quick
back and
Congress
forth
was
going
ready
on.
to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this
I
guy
thought they were
I think it was an
Very
unconstitutional law back then.
Yeah.
Even
takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to
what's
do?
her
in fact,
face?
if the
Man, I can't remember anybody's
Republicans
name. Oh, by the way, I was
He
thinking
gets
of Dr.
elected,
Fauci.
and the
earlier.
MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that
But what
bill?
about the
I'll
people with
veto
rape
it.
and
He'll sign
incest?
it.
That's not
Thank
making
you.
up the 300
Let's turn
plus
to the issue of
thousand
immigration and
abortions
border
a year.
security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and
It
security
seems like it
concerns.
hurts him to ask these
Given
questions.
that, why should voters trust you to
Hurts
solve
the
this
souls,
crisis?
His insides.
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan
Oh,
agreement
it's like-
that not only changed
He
all
has
the
the
Trump
power.
took it
to make
away.
sure that
Trump
we
took
are
it
in a
away.
situation
He
He
has
had a law in place.
executive power.
Most
Trump did executive power.
circumstance where they can come across
Yeah.
the border.
This guy's a
with the number of
fucking
border
liar.
increases are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly,
We don't need
by the way,
a-
the border patrol
more asylum officers.
No,
Those
Like
you
are
need
little
him
things.
back out,
In
out
addition to
here.
that,
You
we
need to
found
not let him in,
ourselves in a
period.
situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from
He's doing the same thing still.
making sure that
Yeah, Obama was doing that
the
as well.
families were separated.
If
He's
your
doing it
parents are
right now.
crackheads,
What I've
well, yeah, and if your parents are
done since
crackheads
I've
and they get
changed the
arrested,
law,
the police
happening?
separate you
I've changed it.
from
Well,
your
they
children
separate
in a
because
way
you
that
broke the
now
law.
you're in
Yeah,
a
or you get
situation where
separated because they got to
40%
prove they're
fewer
your
people coming
that's
across the
their
border
child.
legally. It's
because
better
people
than
do
what he
take
left off.
Yeah.
babies
And I'm going to continue to move until we
illegally
get
into
the
the
total
country
ban
to sell them.
on the total initiative.
Well, I saw
relative
something
to
on.
what we're gonna do with
There's
more
like
border-
Did we just lose it?
maybe there's some weird shit going on. Hold on,
What happened there, Josh?
it's coming back.
Josh.
Trump's talking.
To people that are
Better.
Are you
from prison,
there?
Yeah,
people
are you
that
there?
are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We're the largest
Heads up,
number
new
of terrorists
recording.
coming into our country.
So
right
can you
now,
hear me or
all
what?
Terrorists,
Yeah, now
all
I
over
can.
the world, not
Okay.
just in South America, all
Can
over
you
the
not
world,
see me?
There.
from the Middle
No,
East.
I couldn't
everywhere,
see you
all
like a
over the
minute
world
ago.
are pouring in.
No, I don't know. I lost
this
the screen
guy-
share.
Just left it
But
open.
I'm hiding
And
for a
he
minute.
didn't
I
need
gotta use the restroom.
legislation because I
All
didn't
right,
have
you
legislation.
hide.
I said,
Wait a minute. I'm not sure if I did that right.
and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon.
I won't say that.
But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history.
You'll
There's
see me in a
never been
minute.
anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you, President
caravans.
Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three. And
What are
his
you trying to
administration
just leave,
killed
Kevin?
Al
Just go.
Qaeda person coming in, and his administration killed three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not
Oh,
saying that
yeah.
no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people. That's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that
Yeah,
you will
he's gonna get
deport
it done.
every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing
That's
our
no lie.
people in New York, in California, in
It's
every
absolutely true.
state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in
Hey,
and they're killing
don't call my
our
policy
citizens at a
stupid.
level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a
I
level that
agree.
we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just
Well, you can
spoke to the
definitely
mother,
tell which one
and
is
he
more
just had the
with it.
funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken
Yeah.
place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country.
That ain't
Just
no
take
lie.
a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest
figure
approval
something
rating
out
for
here.
veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
No,
President
thank
Biden.
Very
you.
sad day.
Thank
in
you.
America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie.
Everything,
Every single one.
Everything.
For
except for
example,
it wasn't.
veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he opposed.
Oh,
his
really?
group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits. Came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes. that
Where
died.
the
I went to the World War II cemetery. World War I cemetery.
one
refused
secretary had
go
to bring you back because
He
you
was
got
standing
lost.
with
Yeah.
a four-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him.
Ooh, Biden's
We had
getting cranky.
19 people
Getting
that
to
said I
him.
didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia
Wait a
was
second.
made up, just like
They
the
didn't say
51
that.
intelligence
Yeah.
agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It
Good
wasn't.
that you brought that up.
came from the
Yeah.
son Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side was on your staff who said you said it.
Oh,
Period.
what is
That's
he
number
talking
one.
about?
And number two,
Uh,
the idea that I have
The guy
to
who wants to learn
apologize
about
to you
white
for anything
rage.
along the line.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
done more
I-
for veterans than any
I
president
think that's
has
who
in
he's talking
American
about.
history. American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing
Yeah,
more for
with all
veterans
the
than ever before in our history.
Drag queen stuff.
right, thank
and
you so much.
everything going on.
Move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump,
Which again doesn't
Russian
say a whole
President
lot
Vladimir
about
Putin
Russia.
says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander in chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight.
Who said
And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real
Except for the
president,
trans
the
one.
president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot
I
of
think
people
that's
are
an
dead
actual
right
true
now,
statement.
Much
I
more
I don't
than
think,
people know.
I
They talk
actually
about numbers.
believe
He can double
Ukraine.
those numbers,
Yeah.
maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible, embarrassing, most
absolutely.
embarrassing moment in the history of
yeah,
our
just
country.
open the door.
That
It's
when
like,
Putin
okay,
watched
so
that
these
and he
people
saw the
are-
incompetence, that he should have fired
Are
those generals
going
like I fired the
dumb.
one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of
Absolutely
equipment
true.
behind. We
Yeah.
lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business
Yeah, I
with
think
them.
that's
They ran
all
out of
true.
money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is
Yeah, he
blowing
took out
up under
ISIS.
him.
Yeah, like went in and
President
just
Biden?
destroyed it.
I've never
Yeah.
heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is,
There's
that
just
we're in a
so
situation-
much
Let's take
malarkey.
the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops. and
Was he
did
there?
nothing about it. He said, "They attacked." He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place. Number one. Number two, we got over
Didn't he kill their general?
100,000 Americans and others out
Who,
of,
Trump?
of
Yeah.
Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want, and that's exactly what Trump did to Putin. Encourage him, do whatever you
No,
want.
he messed
And
up
he went
there.
in.
He's
Listen to what he said when
Yeah,
he
I know
went
what he did
We're
there.
going to take Kyiv in
He
5
is
days.
not
remember?
doing well.
Because it's part of the old Soviet Union.
No.
That's what he wanted
Come
to
on,
reestablish.
man.
Kyiv, and he in fact didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done, and they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump, if
I never
come back
said
to you
that.
For 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the
No, they're
territory
not
in Ukraine.
acceptable. No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he
A
let
real
everybody
leader.
along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war And we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being
I can see him actually
so
doing
needlessly,
so. There might be some type
stupidly,
of concessions,
and
but I
I
can't
will get
actually
it
see that
settled, and I'll
happening.
get it settled fast before I take office.
I wonder if he has any back
President
jokes.
Biden, you have a
I
minute.
know.
Oh, I'm sure.
The fact is
Better
that
watch it,
Putin
though.
is a war criminal.
Don't want to get hit
He's
with
killed thousands and
whatever
thousands
the
of
hit is
people.
General Flynn
And
with.
he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when he?
You think Putin said those
What do you
things
think
like he
happens
would
to Poland? What do you think?
because he knew Trump's going to
What do
come
you
back
think
in
happens to
office?
those NATO countries? And so if
I
you want
think
a
he
war,
thinks there's a
you ought
chance.
to
So I think
find
I
out
won't
what
be
he's gonna
surprised
do,
if he
because
ends up
if in fact he does what he
kind
says
of
and walks away.
backtracking some of his
By
stuff.
the way,
Yeah.
all that
Like, he's
money
gonna
we
get
give
ready-
Ukraine from weapons
As
we make
the
here in
closer we
United
get,
States,
depending
we
on the
give
polling to
weapons,
the
not
election,
the money at this point.
the more
and our NATO allies have
if Trump's
produced as
ahead, you're going to
much
see a lot more
funding
backtracking
for
from
Ukraine as we have.
Putin.
That's why
Yeah.
that's why we're strong.
I can't
Thank
call
you. Moving
court
on to the
cases
Middle
for
East.
shit,
In October,
but I think I
Hamas
got Putin
attacked
figured
Israel,
out.
killing more than 1,000 people.
Yeah, you're 0 for 2 on court
hundreds of
cases.
hostages. Among
feel like
those
you had to
held
point
and
that
thought
out.
to
Yeah,
still
that's
be
fine.
alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war?
It's not going to end.
Number
So
one,
Hamas is
It
done.
won't.
everyone from the
That's it.
United Nations
Israel wants
Security-
Hamas gone,
Security
period.
Here's what I
Council,
understand.
end.
the G7,
They talk about like, what are you going to do at the end of the
Netanyahu
war?
himself
It's
had
not
endorsed
our
it
war.
You give
endorsed
Israel as
the
many
plan
weapons
before.
they need to
which is
take
3
out
stages
Hamas.
to it. The
That's the best way to end this.
But that's just it, though. It's not our war.
A ceasefire.
Like everything
Second
he's
phase
trying to
is
do with,
ceasefire with additional conditions.
his
The third phase
constituents.
is no, the end of the
We're not the ones doing it. We
The only
can't
one who
tell
wants the
Israel
war
what to
continue
do.
is Hamas.
No,
Number one.
they're a
You don't
sovereign
want
state.
to-
They can do
And
whatever
we
they want.
have a
Pushing
defense
hard
pact with them.
to get them to
Yeah.
accept. In the meantime, what's happened in Israel? We're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well.
It's
in
like, why don't
populated
you
areas.
put a
They
lot
kill
of,
innocent people? We're providing Israel with all
pressure
the
on
weapons they
Hamas?
need and when they
Like
need
they
them.
should just give
By
up,
the way,
die
I'm
for
the
their
guy who
cause.
organized the world against Iran when they
and then
had a
it would end.
full-blown
They started it, and then they can end it by
ballistic
just
missile
dying.
attack on
Terrorists-
Israel.
That's not how
No
terrorists
one was
work.
hurt. No one Israeli was
Well, I
accidentally
think
killed,
that's shit.
and it's
They're
stopped.
kind of assholes.
We saved Israel. We are the biggest
It's like
producer
when
of support for Israel of anyone in the world, and so they're two
When,
different things. Hamas cannot.
Israel came in as
allow
hard
to
as they
continue.
did. They
We
actually had
continue to
people
send our
like giving
experts
up.
and our intelligence people
Yeah.
to how they can get Hamas like we did Bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated.
Oh,
But you've got
still
to be
blinking.
careful for what using certain weapons among population centers.
I don't think this will happen at
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us.
if I wasn't doing a
The
live
European
share, but I don't care.
nations together
Can you still hear me when I blank
have
out?
spent
Yeah.
100
It doesn't
billion
matter.
or maybe more than that,
No one really
less
wants
than
to look
us.
at you anyways.
Whatever.
Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any, they were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that.
His
He's getting
facial
all-
expressions
You
are
got to
helping.
ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100
But just look at the
billion
difference in the two
more
people's
spent, and it
eyes.
has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who
So
wants to
much
get out of NATO. Are you
foolishness.
going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have
I think NATO's a
our
joke.
strength lies in
NATO
our
is a
alliances
joke.
as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to
He
avoid
said
a
he'd
war
pull
in
out if they didn't
Europe
pay
or
their
make
fair
war in
share.
Europe.
Yeah.
What
like
happens
okay.
if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go
And that's a
in
good
NATO?
leverage.
We have an Article
Yeah.
5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control.
Well, that's what's so
Ukraine,
dumb
and
about it,
then
though. It's
move
like,
on to
okay,
Poland and other
everyone's
places.
worried about Russia
Just
doing
what
whatever.
happens
Well,
then.
if you
He
believed
has
in
no idea
NATO,
what the hell
it
he's
wouldn't
talking about.
matter.
And by the way, I
Yeah.
got 50 other
Russia's
nations
not
around
going
the
farther
world
than
to
Ukraine.
support
Otherwise,
Ukraine,
he's going to
including
have
Japan
NATO
and South
coming after
Korea,
him.
because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace.
Yeah.
No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
President Trump,
Especially
just to
with people
follow
like
up,
you running it.
would you
Yeah.
support the creation of an independent Palestinian
A weak
state
leader-
in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see. but
makes an
before we do
unstable
that,
world.
the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same
Actually,
size
Trump was
economically.
about to cut Russia
Their
off at the
economy is
knees
about
with
the
the
same
natural
size
gas
as the United
deal.
States. And they were no cars.
And then
they don't want
83
anything that we have,
quadrillion
but we're supposed to
Americans
take their cars, their
Yeah.
food,
voted
their
for
everything,
Biden and
their
ruined it.
agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO
That's
is
right,
because
America.
I got them
That
to put up
right
hundreds
there
of billions of
Is
dollars.
the
I
most
said,
popular
and he's right about
president in
this.
the
I said,
history of
no,
the country.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
support
this
NATO.
guy
We
got the
don't
most votes ever.
He asked me that
Yeah, I'm
question.
not
The other
talking
guy
about
got
the
the second.
lively one.
Russia had a very secret
Yeah.
meeting of the 28 states
Those
just
two
had
had
the
the most
most
votes.
at that time.
The first and second most votes ever, right
I
here.
won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions
And
and
somehow,
billions of dollars came
The
flowing in
guy
the
who
next
looks
day
like
and the
the
next
Crypt,
month.
Crypt
But
Keeper's
now we're in the
grandfather
same position.
got more
We're
votes.
paying everybody's
Thank you.
bills.
Just on the issue of democracy, former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied yourself,
there it is.
okay,
There it is.
you stormed the
We
Capitol
don't have a
to
drinking
stop
game,
the
but I'm gonna have to
constitutionally
drink.
mandated counting of electoral votes.
I have to get more beer. I'm about out of
You
beer.
swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution.
There
What
better
do
be
you
a
think
commercial here
voters who
pretty soon.
believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th?
That's a good
and worry that
question.
you'll
I
do it
think
again?
that
I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever.
this is
We
a
had
good
the lowest
response, Kevin.
regulations ever.
Yeah.
On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened in the United States reputation under this man's
We're like a
leadership
bunch of morons.
is
Like a bunch of morons over here.
issue, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds
Oh,
left. My
snap.
question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her
He's
daughter,
got his
who's a
responses down on this one
documentary
pretty good.
filmmaker,
Yeah.
what they say.
Well, he knew it was coming out.
But she's saying,
You can't be
"Oh,
on
no,
CNN
it's my
and not know.
No, but I'm
responsibility.
just saying,
I was
whoever
responsible for
crafted
this."
or helped with
Yeah.
Because
the
I offered her
responses.
10,000 soldiers or
The biggest
National
problem with
Guard,
Trump is
and she turned them down.
he
And the mayor
doesn't
of-
listen to many people.
in writing, by
No.
the way, the
So
mayor.
whoever
He takes their
listening to
advice
turned
and
it
will
down,
absorb
the
it,
mayor of,
but
of DC.
Trump's
They
going to
turned
Trump.
it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day.
yeah.
She was, I don't
Yeah.
know. She can't be very
Otherwise,
happy with her
the
daughter because it
plan
made her into a liar.
Couldn't have gone
She said,
in.
I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
No, there you go.
Look,
She did say that.
he encouraged
It's
those
a
folks to live in
dog-paced
Capitol
pony
Hill,
show.
Number one. I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and
They're
He
being
was,
patriots.
he
The
was in a
people-
dining room.
I think
In
everybody
fact,
can agree
he
that
says
anybody
he'll
who was
forgive them
dumb
for
enough
what
to
they've
get
done.
herded into the
No,
Capitol
they've
is
been
kind of
convicted.
dumb.
He says he wants
Yeah.
to commute their sentences and say.
But people, there was a
no,
lot of people there that
he
felt like
went
they got
to every
screwed.
single court in
It's
the
a
nation.
mob mentality.
I don't
Once it
know how many
starts, it's hard to
cases.
stop.
scores of cases.
I don't feel like I
including
would have
the Supreme
fallen for
Court.
that mob
And
mentality,
they
Kevin.
said,
No,
they
because
said, no.
you're a free
This guy-
thinker, buddy.
This guy
That's
is
right.
responsible for doing
Common
what was
sense
that was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them
Yeah.
all out.
This is
And now
coming
he
from
says he'll
the
lose
guy
it
from the
again,
party
such a
that's
whiner
not
that he
putting
is.
actual
That
violent
could be a
criminals in jail,
bloodbath.
but
Thank you.
people that
President
were
Biden. President Trump?
meandering around the Capitol, they
What
should
they've
be in
done
jail.
to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people when they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down
That's what I'm saying.
many
Everything
other
leading up to
cities. You go to
12/6
Minnesota,
was
Minneapolis,
horrible.
what they've
Yeah, no
done
one
there,
seems to remember that,
fires all
half
over
the
the
country
city.
was
Why
on
didn't bring
fire.
in the National Guard?
Yeah, they
That city
talk
would
about
have
a
been
broken
destroyed.
window, and
When you
like
look at all of the
the only
they
person
took
that
over.
died
One
that
death
day
was-
was
Seattle,
well,
was all
one
set to
violent
bring in
death.
the
Another
National
was
Guard.
like
They heard that, they
a
saw
heart
that
attack or
coming, and they
something.
left
Yeah,
immediately.
one seizure, I think.
What he said about
But
this
they,
whole subject is so off.
yeah,
Peacefully patriotic.
it's
One
like
other
that
thing,
whole year leading up to the election was
the
horrible.
unselect
Yeah.
committee, which is
I believe it was
basically two horrible
this,
Republicans that are all gone now out of office, and Democrats, all
news
Democrats.
station that was
They
like,
destroyed.
it's mostly
and deleted
peaceful.
all
Why
of
there's
the
a giant
information they found
inferno
because
of
As
a
there's a
building.
giant
going on.
inferno behind him.
Right.
Yes.
And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to
Thank
jail.
you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon. Is
Oh,
there it is.
there it is,
Had a
right
drinking
there.
game.
I know.
I'm gonna drink
We
to that.
have alcoholism.
The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be.
Yeah, but
convicted.
there might
The
be
idea
another
that they
convicted
didn't
felon in
kill
the
somebody
back called your
just when they
son.
broke down doors, broke the
His
window,
son.
occupied offices.
He was actually
turned
convicted
over
of a real
desks,
felony, not one that
turned
was
over
drummed up by a
statues.
state
The
prosecutor.
idea
Yeah.
that those
Not
people,
just some
patriots,
fake BS.
come on. When I asked him
Come
the
on,
first
man.
two debates
Come
we
on, man.
had first time around, I
He
said,
blinks
"Will
a
you
lot.
denounce the Proud Boys?" He said, "No, I'll tell them to stand
Keeps
by."
his
The
robotic
idea he's
optics.
refusing to- Will you denounce
clean.
these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
Capital.
I'm not gonna. I wouldn't.
I'm
do
going to
nothing.
give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have.
Oh, don't let him.
After a
don't
jury
let him
convicted you
respond to
of
that.
34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about
then he
members of the
said he
select
wouldn't.
committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again because right now it's
We're gonna
a
make
failing
this
nation.
guy over
My
here
retribution is going
look
to
like
be
the loser
success.
he is.
But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most
snap.
important thing.
Yeah.
But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling
I'm
the
gonna
Ukrainian
draw a
people
dog.
that we're going to want a billion.
I want to
dollars
see
to
what.
change the
I want to
process.
see what his
Otherwise,
scratch
you're not
pad looks
getting $1
like.
billion. If I
It's
had
probably
to,
just squares and circles and
well,
ones and zeros.
We're
Some
not
kind of
gonna do
matching
anything.
game. If he
Probably
says
$1 billion
Hana, you
unless
draw
change your prosecutor
to
having to do with the son.
deer.
This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky.
It's probably
You're
got
lucky.
like
I did nothing wrong.
cocaine
We
that you
got
can
the
absorb through your
system that was
finger on it,
rigged and
on that
disgusting.
pencil.
I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a
Oh
minute.
yeah, I'll go ahead and let you
Yeah,
respond and
Oh,
not give a
you
question.
can respond.
Nah, see, that's
relative to
what-
what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie. Number one.
Yeah, you just took millions of
The
dollars.
idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No
Coming from
president's
the
ever
dude who's
spoken like
fucking
that.
doing it.
Yeah.
No
Come
president
on.
Come
let's-
on.
spoken like that before.
Oh, this.
Number
Come
three.
on, man.
Crimes
Come on,
that you are
man.
Still charged with, and think of all the civil.
I would
penalties.
love it if
How
Trump
many
called him
billions of dollars do you owe
a
on civil
dog-faced
penalties?
pony soldier.
For-
Or what is it? A
molesting-
lying dog-faced pony
doing a
soldier.
whole range of things, of
That
having
would be awesome.
It's like, you know, Joe, I gotta say,
your wife was pregnant. I mean,
you're a dog-faced lying pony soldier.
you're the morals of an alley cat.
Do your minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official at DOJ into the Manhattan DA's
Here's the model,
office
call
to
my
start
wife.
that case.
Yeah.
That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking
Yeah,
Democrats,
that judge
appointed
was
people,
garbage.
and
Oh, yeah.
both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when he found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history.
Because
of
everybody knows that
any
case was a
campaign. I don't think
sham.
any campaign
Yeah,
has
that's
ever
from the
taken.
mafia.
Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
Oh, oops.
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what
So,
he's done.
really?
And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming out. He's
got a lot of
a
cases.
So
whole
he's
range of
basically-
issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that,
So
could you ever think you heard
we
any
may actually be
president say
live on
that I'm
Rumble.
going to seek
maybe.
retribution? You ever
Right
hear
now, it
the
looks like
president
this
say that
cool green
I thought
glowing
Hitler had
orb
some good
behind our
ideas?
logo.
What got me involved around the
Oh, I
first
see
place
that
was
Rumble's, I think
started
Rumble's back
study
up.
in Iraq because
Yeah,
of Iraq.
I redid
I
it.
said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Well, hopefully
People
we're live
coming
on
out of the
Rumble,
woods carrying
so I can
swastikas
talk
on
way worse.
torches and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the
It's
mother.
still not
Right now.
working great.
They asked him. They
Well,
said,
right now it's just
What-
a
what do you
super
think of
cool
those
thing
people?
behind our
the people
logo.
who the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it.
We are live.
And I think they're
We're
fine.
live on Rumble.
What
Can you see us?
American president
No,
would ever say?
Okay, so we're not really
Nazis
live.
coming out of fields carrying.
Well, we're
torches,
green.
singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas. We're fine people.
See, we can talk like
This
this
is the
and
guy who
talk
says
about
that he's
this
done
because
some good
nobody gives a
things.
shit
I'd like
what
to know
Biden
what
has
they
to say.
are. The good things.
everybody
that
knows
done
he's
in
lying,
this
so it doesn't
This
matter.
guy has no
He's a
sense
lying
of
dog-faced
American
pony soldier. Oh, I finally got it right.
But you know that story has been totally wiped out.
I'll
Because
tell you
when
one
see
thing:
the
the
sentence,
back
it said
connection
100%
to our online studio,
exoneration on that. So
it
he just
definitely
keeps
doesn't
it going.
work.
He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of
The
Charlottesville.
what?
He ran because it
the
was
back
his last
feed. So, like,
chance.
I mean, we've been
he's not
jumping
equipped to
from
be
2
president.
to
You know it,
5
and I know it. It's ridiculous.
million
We're-
viewers,
We're trying to
And,
justify his presidency.
and it
His
doesn't show
presidency
anything
is-
on
Without question,
our
the worst president, the worst
Yeah, I know.
president
Live
in
stream.
the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to
Did that
debate.
hire everyone
He
thing
made
you
up the
do?
Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's
Go out to the
debunked
live
all
stream?
over the place. Every
He'll probably
anchor,
moved over to Rumble,
every
not knowing it's
reasonable
still not
anchor
working.
has debunked it.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
just
that's
the other day,
exactly
it
what
came out
happened.
where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he
Why
didn't
isn't it
run
working,
for
though?
Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse
No,
to
no,
run.
I put the
President
put
Biden?
the merch.
Debunked. It happened.
Come on.
All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought
And I
we were good people coming out
ran,
of that all
ran
that
so
forest,
far
carrying those
away.
carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president.
Yeah, the good
Didn't
thing
deserve
is
to
this
be
thing's
president
going
at
so
all.
horrible and
The
rumble that
idea
even
that
if
he's
this
talking
mess up
about
is our
all
fault,
this being
no one's going to
fabricated.
know
We
except for
saw
the
it
fact
with
I
our
just
eyes.
said
We saw
it.
what happened on January
Yeah.
6th. We saw the people breaking through the
We
windows.
can't cut
We
that
saw
out.
people occupying the
I noticed that
His
the
own
only
vice
people
president.
actually
Look,
breaking
there's a
and
reason
destroying
why
shit were
40 of
all
his 44
dressed out in
top
tactical
cabinet
shit.
officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why?
Yeah.
Why? They know him
And
well.
Vice
They serve him.
President
Yeah, who
Pence.
cares
They
what
only
Pence
vote for him.
Yeah,
says?
you like
Thank you,
literally
President
got
Biden.
kicked
We're gonna
out
be right
pretty
back
quick.
with more from the CNN presidential debate.
Yeah, we are not live.
Yeah.
We have 4 viewers just watching her. Super cool. All right, I'm gonna mute this. There we go. So what do you
Dude,
think so
this-
far, Kevin?
This is a shit show.
Right?
My God.
Here, I'm gonna hit stop sharing because there's no.
What the, comment what you think. Can you still see it? Can you still watch it so you know when it comes on?
Yeah, I got it up.
Okay.
Comment below. Let us know what you think.
All right, Matt. Thanks for still watching.
Our good buddy Matt. And who else is watching? We got 3. Let us know what you think so far.
Probably
We
me and you.
shit. Do we count? Damn it, no one's
I-
watching.
I don't know. When we're just talking over everything, maybe that's why people. I mean,
Well, let us know what you guys thought of that before we get back into it.
Oh, Jared's
J
here.
Red's here. Matt's here. Is there main man Mike here, or did he go over to Rumble to watch that cool video?
I think the cool video might be better.
Well, I'm not 100% sure how to fix this without. I wonder how I do that. Get streamer configuration.
Let me see if like any other live streams are working on Rumble.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can. The problem is I don't know if I can add stuff while we're going, and I really don't want to end it. I think Biden's gonna lose it before the next commercial break. I would have to agree, J Red.
We have 3 viewers on Rumble, and none of them are. If you're watching on Rumble, I don't know what's going on.
They're not hearing you. There's nothing on Rumble.
Oh, sorry. You can't even hear us?
I doubt it.
Ugh, that sucks.
I have the stuff to add it, but I don't think we can add it without canceling, without turning it off.
Rumble's down, like Crowder's down too. Fucking.
You know, Matt, I believe that would be the most boring boxing match, yet simultaneously possibly one of the most entertaining in the history of the country. Nay, the world.
I think, and don't get me wrong, I think Trump would
You
win.
can hear us on Rumble or just YouTube?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can hear us on Rumble, that'd be great. But people were saying that Crowder's down too. So
I think everybody's down, but someone said they can hear it. I'm with Matt. It should be.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be nice. And at the end, you're either going to hear, "You're fired!" or, "You're fired! You're fired!"
But how do you beat a robot?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
I mean,
it's hard.
he's going to
win.
have extra padded gloves.
He's like a piece of iron.
It's like, now that I don't like, get out of here.
That is true. See, he does have WrestleMania experience. You're still blinking in and out, and it's weird.
I don't know how to fix it. I got 4 things open.
That might be it.
I seriously.
Maybe turn off. Oh, you can't turn off. Use YouTube on your phone.
I have YouTube on my phone. I just don't know if I exit out of it, am I going to lose the stream?
What do you mean?
Well, what I'm wondering is, now I already did it, so I guess it doesn't matter.
You're fine.
All right. Well, I exited out of it. Oh, they're back. Let's see. Boom. Boom. Boom.
Why did we lose the stream?
We didn't. I turned it off.
White families. Black mothers are still
Oh, sorry for that lack of
to die
professionalism.
for pregnancy-related causes.
That
And
is
Black
true.
Americans
Trump does
are
have a
in
lot of
prison
WrestleMania
at 5
experience.
Yeah, he
times
does.
of white Americans. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot
You know
of
what's
progress,
funny?
Number one. Fact of the matter is,
I don't know how if it looks
small
on
black
YouTube, but it looks
businesses
like it
that have
reconfigured the
started for
screen.
any time in history. Number two,
A little bit.
wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time.
Except
Number
for
three,
black unemployment was lowest under Trump, but whatever.
Housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporate corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses.
Do you think he went back to like a wooden stool?
The impact of
I got the towel and
the
Uh-oh.
choice that black families have to make relative to childcare is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black childcare costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for childcare costs. We got to make sure.
I think it's important that people realize that any dollar that the United States government spends
in the job market
into the
there's more to be
general
done,
public, whether it be
considerably more
through
to
any
done.
type of social
But we've
program,
done a
adds
great
to
deal
inflation.
so far, and I'm not letting up
Yes.
when they know it.
every
You
single
have
one of them.
49
I'm not
seconds
saying I'm
left.
against all of them.
What do you
I
say
think we
to
need them to
Black
help people, but
voters who are disappointed
all
with the
social
progress so far?
programs
I don't
add to
blame them for being
inflation.
disappointed. Inflation is still
Prove me wrong.
For example, I provided for the idea that any black family first-time home buyer should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first
Yep,
home.
there's more inflation.
Started. I made sure that we're in a situation. where
Have you seen the
all those
housing
black
market? We're going to
families
need
and
like
black individuals
50.
who provided that had to take out student loans that were
Houses
ballooning,
have like
that if
doubled
they
in
do
cost since
engage
he
in
took
nursing,
presidency.
doctor, and
Yeah, I know.
anything having to do with volunteers.
I got quite the property
paid their
tax bump,
bills
which
for 10
should be
years
illegal as shit
and
too.
student debt,
Which is why
all the
property
rest was
taxes,
forgiven
yeah,
after 10 years.
Yeah.
about
Millions
3
have
times what it
benefited
was
from
when I
that.
bought my house.
And we're going to do a whole lot more
Dumb.
for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New Scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now.
Yep.
And it could be 18, it could be 19 and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs and they're taking Hispanic
I'm going to
jobs.
drop out for
And
it,
you haven't
Kevin. Make
seen
sure
it
to say
yet,
stuff
but
every
you're
now
gonna
and again.
see
So
something
hopefully
that's
we
gonna
don't
be the
trigger
worst
some
in
type
our
of
history.
whatever.
Thank you, President Biden.
Yeah, that's
There
true.
was no inflation when I became
Just say
president.
random
You know
stuff
why?
every now and
The
again.
economy was flat on its back.
For
Poopy
2
bus.
viewers.
Unemployment. He
Not
decimated
that.
the economy.
Well, I can say whatever I want.
I'm out.
That's why there was no inflation
All right,
at the time. There were no jobs.
Josh
Provided
Smokey,
thousands of millions of jobs
if
for
anybody's
individuals
asking.
who are in all communities, including minority communities.
Just can't
We
sit down
made
when he
sure
does
that
it.
they have health insurance. We have covered, if the ACA has increased, I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again. And they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration.
To be honest,
has.
he's doing
He
better than
wants
I
to
thought
cut
he was
the
going
cops.
to do.
We're providing for equity and making sure people have
I mean,
a shot. to
Understanding
make it.
him.
There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused
Not great,
it
though.
by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in
It's a
recorded
hoax.
history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President
I hear
Trump,
this
you
every
vowed
year.
to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take
And none of
any
it's true.
action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police.
Yeah, don't give this
How
climate crap.
close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name. And he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it. And now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with
Fact
Tim,
check
as you know,
true.
Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country. Opportunity zones. And
I'm
the
glad he's not
biggest
talking about
beneficiary
climate.
are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs. And it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You 38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air. And we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever. And we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea.
I don't know where the hell he's
thing that
been.
he said is true. I've passed the most extensive
So everybody sit down
climate
when you
change
pee.
legislation in history.
No,
In history, we find ourselves. And by the way,
you don't.
black colleges. I came up with $50 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water.
You said the
Didn't do
cleanest
a
air,
damn thing for the
technically.
environment.
Technically.
Out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord, I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one
Not
point,
getting a lot of
All
traction.
that
the only
temperature
existential
stuff
threat to
on
humanity
the
is
climate
change.
I've heard
And he didn't
from
do a damn thing about it.
multiple
Must undo
sources
all
Dude,
that I've done.
is stupid.
I
Paris
just
Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia
look at his
nothing,
face.
and
Look at
India
his
nothing.
face.
It was a ripoff of the United States. Because I
Well, the
didn't want
funny
to
thing
waste
is
that
Baby
money.
Ruth.
Put it
We
this
were the
way:
only ones
our
who was costing
diesel
us money.
trucks
Nobody else
meet
was paying into
the
it.
standard
And it was
emissions
it was
for the
a
Paris Climate
disaster.
Accords
But everything that
without
he said
all the
just now,
DPF
I'll give you an
filters
example.
and
I
all
heard him
that
say
shit.
before
Yes.
insulin. I'm the one that
But
got the insulin down.
we
for the
have to
seniors.
have
I
them
took care
because of the
seniors.
Paris Climate
What he's
Accords,
doing
even though
is
our engines don't
destroying
need
all
them,
of our medical
and that
programs
shit
because the
destroys our
migrants coming in,
engines.
they
Yes,
want
it does.
everybody.
Diesel
Look,
engines used to run
I have
forever.
the biggest part on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people, but we're destroying our country. They're
Yeah.
taking over our schools, our hospitals,
Our life
and they're
thing
going to
is
be taking
stupid.
over Social Security.
Our what?
He is destroying
On
Social
Rumble.
Security.
It's not working
Medicare,
still?
and Medicaid.
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah, they can watch it Monday
The
then.
idea is that we, in fact,
Or this weekend.
were the only ones of consequence who were not
All right, I'm gonna grab another beer.
of the
Yeah.
Paris Accord. How can we do anything
See.
I'll be right back.
and get this under control? One of the largest polluters in the world.
People.
Just
making
do your
significant progress.
research
By
on
2035, we will
actual
have cut pollution in
temperatures
half.
and
We
climate
have made-
change and
we
the
have made
fact that the
significant
climate
progress.
always
And we continue to
changes.
make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people will learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every
I
pharmaceutical
strong arm
cannot have to
everyone.
pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
I'm going to
yes,
text
make
more
the very
people.
wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one after.
But he's talking
not
about
raise
capital
the cost of
gains.
Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still
You're
have
talking
82
about
seconds
taxing
left. Are there any
companies
other
again?
measures that you think that
Yeah,
would
he
be able
basically
to
says
help
that us
keep
normies
Social
pay
Security
6%
solvent, or is
Social
just-
Security
is that
and rich
one enough?
people pay
Well,
1%.
that one enough will keep
I
I'm
don't
us
think that's
assuming
true.
he's talking about
Biggest thing I'll
capital
do
gains.
We defeat this man because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks
This dude
there's
wants to
plenty
fucking tax money that you haven't even cashed out yet.
and Medicare.
Yeah.
both times. And that's what, and if you
Well,
look at the program
Unrealized gains is
by
the way he wants
the
to
House Republican caucus
cash.
that he, I believe, supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea
Or
that
tax.
we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, American
What are you
public has
doing?
greater healthcare coverage
sharing
today than
stuff.
ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're
No
in a
one wants to see your
where
rooster picks.
400,000 people. 400, I mean, 40
No, I'm sharing
million
our
people
live stream
do not
from
have insurance
YouTube
because
because
they have a pre-existing
apparently
condition.
Rumble.
Only allows them to have that
Oh, you
insurance.
put it on our Facebook, I guess.
That
So I
they in
just
fact
did.
are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is we're in a situation where I talk about education for Black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants, another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000.
It seems really bad and
be able to
disrespectful,
get
but
$15,000
I'm really not
towards the
listening when he's
tuition.
talking.
It's, he just doesn't know.
I am, but still.
Thank you,
hard.
President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years.
I want to see if this actually is. a
I've
plan.
never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He could look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace.
Perfect
But
poor.
Social Security, he's
It's more
destroying it
entertaining.
because millions of people are pouring into our country and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA,
Yeah, I wish we
to
could
our
edit our
veterans
live
is
stream while
unbelievable.
we're
Our veterans are living in the street
I think Rumble's
and
just
these
gonna
people
be
are
a
living in luxury hotels. He
Rumble's
doesn't know what
garbage.
he's doing. And it's really coming
I mean,
back.
I
our
love
fault.
Rumble.
I do
Rumble.
like it, and I would have
Country
loved to
before.
have
President Biden.
Rumble live stream
The
on it,
idea that
but
veterans are not being taken care
The
of.
freedom
I told you
of
before.
Rumble.
By the way, when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired.
fired.
He's the one that acknowledged.
He didn't
Yeah,
even
he's
say
lying.
it right.
He's the one standing with Trump when he said it. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in
I'm
a
not sure if this
situation
is
where
working, but I
all
deleted
these
the
millions
live
and
stream
millions
video
of
on
great talks
Rumble
about
because it's not working.
illegal aliens.
I think you had to
Sorry, buddy.
reset up all the
and
stuff.
taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have
you say you
the
put us on
fastest
Facebook?
economy in the world. The reason why we
Yeah,
have the
share it on
most successful
Facebook.
economy in the world. We're doing better.
Oh, I
than
thought
No,
you
I
put
didn't
us
add
the
Facebook.
world.
I added
And by the
the
way,
link to YouTube.
Those 15 Nobel laureates
Oh.
who talked about
Share the
being
link
phony,
to
those
X,
15
Kevin.
Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected,
How to
we're
do
likely
that.
to have a recession and inflation is going to
You go
increase.
to live feed and
by the
hit
way,
the
worst
thing
president
about
history,
sharing and you share it.
159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child
Oh, yeah, and
care,
I'm
which
betting
many
those
American
scholars
families
came from
struggle
Ivy
to
League,
afford. President
link.
Trump, both you and President
Colleges.
Biden,
And
All right,
Trump
I'm
is
just going to
doing
put this
great.
on.
the average cost of
Facebook
child care in this country
on
is
my page
more than
because we are being shadow
$11,000 a
banned.
year per child. For many families,
It's not a
the
lie.
cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is
What?
he doesn't fire
Oh,
people.
how dare you.
He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp.
What was he
They were
itching
no
his ear
good.
for, Kevin?
Not easy to fire people.
What's
Got
that?
an earpiece in there?
But they were no good. I
For what?
inherited these people. I didn't put
Yeah,
them
Oh,
in.
look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I fired him.
It's a weird
This guy
white.
hasn't fired anybody. He never fired.
No, he was itching
He
his
should have
ear. I
fired
wonder if he's got a
every
little
military
wireless
man
mic
that
in
was
there.
involved with
Right.
the Afghanistan
You son of a bitch.
horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons,
You probably got a
many
raise.
from mental institutions? Did you fire
And-
anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said look, he's the worst president.
It's really
in the history
not-
of our country.
I mean, if you were to
He's
compare-
destroyed our country.
It
I mean,
doesn't
he's-
matter if you like Trump or not. The
Came out
dude's
with
entertaining.
a nothing,
Yes.
a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country.
Well,
to
and I
either
don't
be
care what anybody
destroyed,
says.
or he wants
Just
to pick
if
up
you
those
go off the
people as
metrics,
voters.
Biden
And
is
I don't think
at least
we just
the
can't let
worst
it happen.
modern
If
day
he
within the last
wins
100
this
years
election,
president we've ever
our
had.
country
No,
doesn't have
absolutely.
a chance, not even a chance.
Because the
coming
last
out
time
of
we were
this
in
rut, we
world,
probably
world
won't have
wars,
a country left
that
anymore.
wasn't
That's
because
how
of
bad it
America.
is. He is the
If we get in
worst
World War
history
III,
by far.
it's because of him.
Thank you, President
Yep.
Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world.
We've always been the most admired country. I mean, it's not
There's
saying
nothing
much.
beyond our
It's
capacity.
just that we're more frowned upon
military in the
now.
history of the world. The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one.
Oh,
No,
there's
no,
a lot
Joe.
of people think
Nobody.
They think
Number
you're
one.
weak.
Number
after
two,
Afghanistan, everybody thought we're weak.
Oh, no, he set himself
I
up
wasn't
for
joking.
that. People don't
Look it
think
up.
America's
Go
weak.
online.
They think their leaders weak.
159.
Yeah,
That's why
America's
people
not
like.
weak.
Exact number.
Well, that's why wars kick
Presidential
out and a bunch of
historians,
wonky
they
shit
had
happens when
meetings and they
Democrats
voted.
are in
He was
office.
the worst
Yeah,
president in
because
American history. One for
Weak
best to worst.
leadership.
They said he
Yeah.
was the worst. In
Weak
all
leadership is
of American
in
history.
weak
And he
Fact.
keeps
leadership
bringing
in the
this
US
up.
is
Conjecture.
He keeps
You
bringing
can
up all
argue
these
they're wrong, but that's what they
presidential
voted.
scholar,
The
blah blah
idea that
blah.
he is
You bunch
Yeah.
of bunch
doing
of.
anything to
You talking
do
about a
with
bunch of
childcare.
left wing Ivy League
He
people?
did for virtually nothing to child care.
yeah.
Just saying, ask some questions.
Who's going to believe anybody from a university?
I know I had more
We
money.
just saw what they let
Men
their protesters do.
To be able to go back to work.
Yeah,
And
and
we
I know
saw
I
Ivy
had
Leagues.
more money,
to have
and the
Thank
world
you,
was
President
more
Biden.
stable
President
when
Trump,
Trump
the
was
question was
president than
about
Biden.
what would you do to
And
make childcare
bam,
more
that's
affordable
all I
for
need to
people?
know.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best.
Mean tweets and good policy. I'm all for it.
Created an economy like us.
like I
Nobody
said,
ever
I don't
cut
have to-
taxes like us.
That's why I
He's
don't
the only
understand
one
how
I know. He wants to
people
raise
like
your
vote for
taxes
people
by
based
4
on
times.
how they
He wants
feel
to
about
raise
them.
everybody's
Yeah.
taxes.
Oh, it's
by
like I
4
want to
times. He
know
wants the
that I
Trump
can have a
tax
beer with
cuts
that
to
guy. I don't
expire.
give a shit.
So
I don't
everybody,
care if he's a
including
big
the three of
ass.
you, are going to pay 4
As long as he's doing the job, I
Nobody
don't
ever heard of
care.
this before.
All
All
that
my life,
matters.
I grow up and I see politicians.
If I'm
talking about
living
cutting taxes.
well
We cut taxes
and the
as I
world's
said.
not in
We did
flames,
Apple and all these companies.
who cares?
Any
bringing
politician
money
doing their
back
job
into
is
our
going to make
country.
it to where you're not.
The worst
If
president
you
in
don't
history
know
by
that
far,
they're
and
there,
everybody knows it.
or you don't notice
President
them,
Look,
Then
fact
they're
of the
doing a
matter
good
is
job.
that he's dead wrong about.
Yeah.
He's increased the tariff. He will increase
Whoop,
the
whoop,
taxes on middle
whoop.
class people. I said I'd never raise a tax upon anybody making less than
oh,
$40,000.
J-Red noticed he was
I
messing
didn't.
with his ear.
These tariffs,
I think there's
10%
something in there.
tariffs. Everything coming in the country, you know what
Yeah.
economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more. Because
You know
of
we're
the-
making $7,800 less than we
You know,
were in
Yeah,
2020.
anything Trump
he's in
does
a
is not going to
situation
make.
where he
I can
talks
almost
about
guarantee
how he
anything
has
Trump does is not going to mess
raised-
my pocketbook
He's
in a
somehow
negative
helped the
manner.
Middle class.
Yeah.
Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you
What are you
want
No.
talking about?
I'm middle
Your
class.
inflation. Yeah. I know when I was living well and when I wasn't.
you have the
This
black-
is what this podcast is about. Two blue collar guys who are definitely not rich, which we were, but you people need to like, subscribe, and share.
Check out the merch
You have
shop.
the lowest trade
Yeah,
deficit in
all that
finance
crap.
since 2010.
Thank you,
But
President Biden.
I know when I had more money.
Let's discuss an epidemic.
I know when I had more money.
That's why I think it's funny how they
both of
say
you
that.
have made a top priority. In
It's
your
like,
first
oh no,
term,
you have more money.
the
No,
opioid
I
crisis.
don't.
And for both
No.
of you, the number
I know because
of overdose
I'm not
deaths
a big dum dum.
has
Yeah,
gone
it's
up.
like I know
Under
'cause
your term it went up. Under
I
your
don't.
term it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the
God, I
throes
hope he
of
says he'll
addiction
make the
who are
cartels a terror
struggling to
group.
get the treatment they need?
To finish up,
Yeah, I think you should.
we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets
I
money
would
from
agree
China.
with that.
He's a Manchurian
To
candidate.
deal with it or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries and there was more to come.
It's tremendous,
done that. But he
stupendous.
hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes
Why is he
of
at
addiction
67?
right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Because you only
I
spent
think we're doing
53,
very well
dummy.
at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5,
And there's
almost
actually
3
some
years
jerk
of,
off
like
sitting back there
nobody's ever
talking
had
about it.
before, any country in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was
Don't be
the
afraid
drugs
to
flowing across the
like
border
our live stream
were-
if you're liking it so far.
started to increase. We got
Yes.
We are
great
thinking of
equipment.
doing
We
more
bought a
live
certain
shows.
Dog that's the most
Yeah.
incredible thing that you've ever seen. The way they
So
can
please,
spot it. We did a lot.
our live
and we
shows
we were
are
getting
based
very
on
low
audience
numbers, very very low numbers. Then he came
participation.
along.
So
The numbers. Have
I've
you seen
enjoyed
the numbers now?
the audience,
It's not only the 18
participation so
million
far.
people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways.
As long as we're not
Tuesdays.
live
But the
streaming some
numbers
major event,
of-
I'm pretty
of
sure I'll
the
be less
amount of
blinky
drugs
next
and
time.
human trafficking
I
in
hope
women
so.
coming across our border.
gonna give me
the
a
worst
seizure.
thing I've ever seen at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
And that goes back to
Fentanyl-
China because China's main manufacturer or main supplier of
Why?
fentanyl.
And I wanted to make sure we use them.
Yeah, all the
machinery to
ingredients
detect
into making it
fentanyl.
and all that.
These big
They're all
machines that
commodities.
roll over everything.
Yep.
And then it comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents.
I'm gonna have to
more
look into the
numbers of
hardware for this
all
stuff
over
more.
The border. And when we had that deal done, he called
I just feel
his
like I shouldn't be having these
colleague, said,
problems.
"Don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically." No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill.
Was he talking about the
need
border
those
bill? It was
machines.
a garbage bill.
It was a garbage bill.
We're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of
Why they
precursors.
why they fucking the Republican one's still up on?
You don't have the technology
Yeah.
to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
No, but that bill didn't
Thank you,
let enough
President Biden.
people in.
President Trump, and
Yeah.
again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now, struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that
just
we
love
had done.
his
Hard
react-
negotiations
Huh?
with Mexico for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay
He's like,
$6
"Oh, wait.
billion
What
for
am I-
every
what am
time
I-
we say a
okay.
hostage. Now we have
Ah,
a hostage.
shit.
The Wall Street Journal.
I'm gonna have to go to
reported.
the pie graph.
I think
Yeah.
a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office.
I actually
Before take
think, and I
office,
could just
said
be, you know,
by
obviously,
literally
we're,
as soon as I win
biased.
the election, I will
yeah,
have
we're
that
biased,
reporter
but
out.
I can
He should
see
have had
him
out
being
a
able to
long
get that
time ago.
reporter back.
But Putin's
I think so,
probably
too.
asking for billions and billions
just
of
because-
dollars because this guy pays it every time.
Based on his
We had
track
two
record,
cases
not
where
because
he
I
paid
like
$6
him, but
billion for 5
based
people.
on his track record.
I got 58 people.
We gave up
that I
the
paid
world's
essentially nothing.
Number one,
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
like,
Let's turn to concerns that
warlord
voters have about each of you.
for a
President
basketball
Biden,
player.
You would
Yeah.
be 86.
Yeah,
at
forget the
end
Marine.
of your second
Forget the
Lord of
reporter.
War.
How do you address
Yeah.
concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in
I
politics.
doubt
I was
that.
the
but
second
Yeah, I
youngest
doubt
person
that.
ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest.
Based on
This
lying,
guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around.
He hasn't done
horrible
anything.
situation
He doesn't
you
ain't done anything.
left.
Everything's worse.
didn't do your jobs.
no, but
Yes,
literally,
more
like throughout
investment,
his
more
entire,
investment
other
in
than
America.
probably being
Over millions-
within the
billions of
last
dollars
50
in
years,
private
the one
investment
politician that has
in-
dropped the
in
hard R
enterprises that we
on
are
congressional
growing.
record.
By the way,
That's
we
about the
brought
only
a
thing
lot
he's
of
got
people. Well,
going.
Yeah.
You know, they can say, well, I've
Computers
got
are
this
3
feather in
steps on the
my hat.
market.
Or the
We
blatant
invented it.
2A fucking
We
salt
lost
man. Salt
because he
weapon
was
man.
sending people
Yeah.
Like
to
2A.
find the cheapest jobs overseas.
Well, and he was the one who
So I went
cracked
I went
down
to
on,
South Korea.
all
I
the drug
convinced Samsung
crimes.
to
Yeah,
invest
that put a
They
lot
got a
of
billions
lot of people
dollars
thrown in
here
prison.
the United States.
for nothing.
Guess what? Those fabs they call that to build these chips. Those fabs pay
Today,
over
Junior.
$100,000. You don't need a college degree for them. And there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested, being built right now
That's funny.
in the United States, creating significant
India,
jobs
from all
for
of them, all the
Americans
time.
from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. we're the envy of the world. Like, name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems.
I'd take any of them, really. Other
We're
than
the
you.
most progressive country in the world in getting things done.
Well, anybody even
We're the
trade you
strongest
out.
country in the world.
Except for Trudeau.
We're
That
the country
dude's
in the world who keeps our word, and everybody
Oh,
trusts
he's
us.
horrible.
All of our
yeah, that
allies
dude's.
and our those who he cuddles up to, from Kim Jong Un, he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would
Hold
be 82
brow.
at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took
Quadruple,
none. I'd like
double
to see him take
plus.
one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards.
Jesus Christ.
I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago.
He
Actually,
looks
I'm
good.
probably a
I will
little
say
bit
that.
lighter,
Yeah.
but I'm in as
Actually,
good
he
a
does
shape
actually look
I
pretty good
was,
in this one. He was looking a little,
years ago. I feel
and
very
in
good.
his
I feel
stress
the
of
same.
the
But I
trials
took-
or
I
whatever.
was
He was
willing
looking a
to
little rough
take a
there for a
cognitive
while.
test.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them.
I'm sure he's
Like
under a
he
little
looks
stress.
tonight more like what he
Great
did
guy
when he was in
White
office.
House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar
He
one.
looks less
And both-
worn down.
One of them said
Yeah.
they'd
He
never seen
came
anybody
off the
ace them.
campaign trail to
Thank
do
you.
this. Biden
President
took a
Biden?
week off to
You
prepare
can
for
see
this.
he
Yeah.
is 6'5".
I know.
23 pounds or 35 pounds.
Shep-
Well, you
Shep-
said 6'4", 200.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, that's it. Anyway.
he's gonna call him
Take a look
fat.
at what he
He
says.
cut-
Listen
he's
up, fat.
Listen up, fat.
I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my hand.
What should
Biden-
happen?
Vice
What's
President.
Biden got against fat people?
I don't know, but he just challenged Trump to a driving
I
contest.
told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag.
Okay, is he going to carry his?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8,
No, now it's 8.
but I had, you know,
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Yeah,
Okay, let's
you
not
don't
act
know
like
Why are they talking about golf?
Let's not act like
This
children.
is a weird.
or
a
a child.
specific concern that voters have about
This is
you.
great.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Like
Well, I
everything that
shouldn't
happened
have to
during
say that,
2020.
but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. And I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that
Yep.
loud and clear. But the answer is,
Not lying.
if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. But the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation.
right.
We're a seriously
Yep.
failing nation.
Make America great
And we're-
again.
Because of him. His
MAGA,
policies
baby.
are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us.
You know,
into
I will
World
say
War
a
III.
thing.
We're closer to World War III.
This is going
than
better than I
anybody
thought
can
it would
imagine.
on
we
CNN
are very,
side.
very close to World War III.
It's a
And
little
this-
more fair than I thought it was going to be.
And Kim
Yeah,
Jong Un,
that's what I
Good
will.
on them.
President
Hats
Xi
off
of
to
China,
them.
Kim Jong Un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III? Let him follow and win.
He
and
never had a war start.
Here's the thing.
Just do
They
what
kept
you want.
saying that
You can
during
say
his
that just
first
by-
4 years.
An attack
Yeah.
on one is
You
attack
can
on all.
see. You
Requires
can
response.
see
The idea
between the two
idea-
presidents.
I can't think of
There's a
single
clear
leader
line.
in the world who wouldn't trade
Yeah.
places with
No
Joe
new
Biden
wars
like
under Trump.
they've done.
2 wars kicked
Because
off
we're a
under
powerful
Biden.
nation. We have
Yeah,
Like they
wonderful
said that all
people.
he's going to
That
start
means
World
because
War
American
III.
people
Oh, but under
are
Trump,
capable of anything
it was the
to
first
step
time the
up
South
when
Korean
needed.
president
And right
crossed the
now,
neutral
we
zone
need it.
to
We
shake
need
hands
it
with the North
the
Korean
world because
president.
our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war.
But there's a
just
lot of
let
people who
Putin
don't
go
pay
ahead and
attention to
take
that
Kyiv.
stuff, Kevin.
Make sure
No,
that
because
you
they're
see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and
dumb.
other places along that border.
Dumb is the word I'm
Then you
saying.
have a war.
President Trump,
I wanna
as I
say a
come back
different
to you
word.
for a follow-up, the question
we're
was,
live.
will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing. from
Absolutely
Trump.
true.
He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well.
So,
but he knew not to play
everything he's
games.
saying is
He
true.
said he
took
would
nothing
bomb
from
the
me.
shit out of Moscow.
But now he's
It's
gonna
like,
take the
oh,
whole
these
thing
beautiful
from
buildings.
This man right here.
Yeah.
Be ashamed if
That's a
they
war
would
that
go
should have
on.
never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And you know, you asked me a question before. Would you do this with? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, "I will never settle until such time." They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad.
How
They've
dare
lost
you
so
talk
many
bad
people,
about
and
the
they've lost those
Ukrainians?
gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country.
That's
I would
good.
be very
That's actually
happy
a good
to
That's
do
a
someplace
good
else.
line.
You know, I wasn't going
I
to.
wasn't going to, but
No
But
indictment,
after the first
no
day, I was
political
like, ah,
opponent stuff,
shit, I got to
because
do
it's
it.
the only way
yeah,
he
this
can
guy's
do it.
this guy's an idiot.
Unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to
Yeah,
a very
4
high
viewers
level,
on
because the
X.
people understand.
Hello,
All right.
everyone on X.
Let's see what your numbers
Hello.
are.
Hello.
Say something.
Kevin's supposed to be monitoring the
Let's see.
comments, so
You're a
feel
whiner.
free to
There's nothing
comment.
being
First
said.
time
Well,
you-
Jared
you
thinks it's
continue
going
to
off the
appeal
rails.
to
I think he
the
thought
courts
about
all
the-
across the country. Not one
Yeah, I don't
about the
have.
golf.
court in America
I got
said any of
YouTube.
your claims had any
Okay.
merit.
Well, you gotta let me know if
State
anybody
or
says
local.
anything.
None. But you continue to
If you're watching
provoke
on X, let us know.
this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The
You're
idea
such
if
a
you lose
whiner.
again, you accept it.
Such
anyway,
a whiner.
just in the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
We'll be right
Oh, that's
back
one of his one-liners.
with
Oh,
more
that's some
from the
shit.
CNN presidential debate.
Yeah, there's some things that are still not going to be fair. I mean, it's still CNN. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, that was 100%
All right,
like
let's close her up a little bit.
required required a rebuttal on that, methinks.
Yeah, what a crock of hooey.
It is a crock of hooey, Kevin.
A crock of hooey.
All right. If anybody's up there watching, what are your comments? What are you thinking on
What
the
are you
second,
thinking so far on this?
second, third?
Yeah, this is
J-Red thinks they're going off the rails.
Steven Crowder started streaming again, so
Nobody cares. He knows how to start a stream midstream. Actually, no, they'll actually close down their whole thing, but we're not going to do that, Kevin.
yeah, because we are very whorish for followers.
No, it's just pure laziness.
That too.
Because if
This has been something else, and you are blinking like it's fucking Christmas.
yeah, I don't get it.
It's weird.
I know.
But now this has been actually a little better than I thought it was going to be. Dude, what is going on? Are you all right? Is this SOS? Should I
Maybe.
call the police?
Here's the thing, Kevin. It's just you on yours. I have the studio up, the live feed.
And that's it, right?
Well, yeah, but that's a lot of shit going out. And now
You-
it looks like I've just blacked out.
I know. It's weird.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. Oh,
can you see me on the studio screen? Oh, yeah. there it
no,
is.
you're blinking.
Yeah,
I don't want to look at you.
Just stop.
Like, I want to have a seizure.
It should be fine now.
Whatever. Unprofessional.
Well, I would say that our online studio people need to figure their stuff out.
Yeah. Our producer is.
Because I'm going to check something here. Well, we use Riverside for our recordings, and
It's got to be your internet. But whatever. It is what it is.
I'm
So-
hardwired, bro.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you should go.
I'm only using 17% of my CPU and 16%, 18% of my RAM.
I don't understand what's going on then.
And I'm pretty sure I have 28 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh, you're
now
back.
I'm using 79. Oh, you know what?
What do you got running?
Well, I don't know, but I think I forgot to shut off my anti-malware.
Oh, you dummy. What do you think about the debate so far?
I mean, I think it's been good. I think Trump's done good.
I think I'm actually surprised how well Biden's doing. That he's not like falling apart, like just falling asleep.
Yeah.
So he's stumbled a few times, but I mean, it's just weird how like when he does these things, he's all like way better than when he like just talks in front of a group of people when he just like wanders around.
Yeah.
You think Trump's going to have to help him off stage though at the end?
That would be funny.
That would be funny.
And we're back.
All right, let's get back to it.
By President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I asked anyone out
that
there
was
in
the big
audience,
problem.
or anyone out,
That was
Yeah.
the big takeaway.
do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under
You want
$400
to increase
had a
inflation.
single penny increase
Start
in the
taxing
tax
companies
system
more.
will not- And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again.
There's always going to be.
This guy has
sorry, it
increased
does
the
trickle
taxes
down.
because of the deficit.
Reagan
number
was
one.
right.
He's increased
So, if you
inflation
raise
because
taxes
of the debacle
on
he left after the way he handled
Companies,
the
they're still
pandemic.
going to make the same
And
amount
he
of
found
profit
himself
because
in a
they're going to
position
charge
where
more.
He now wants
Yeah,
to
companies don't
tax you
stay in
more
business by
for
making
putting a
less
10%
money.
tariff on
So
everything
they're
in
always
the United
going
States of
to
America.
retain that.
What I did,
Yeah,
when, for
they're not going to
example,
try to make less
wants to get
profit.
away
That
with
is not a very
getting
good
rid of
business plan.
the ability of Medicare to for the ability to for the us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it.
I did that.
We got it down.
He
to
didn't do that.
15
Didn't Trump do that?
$35
I don't know.
for insulin instead of
I thought, I
just-
swear to God, Trump.
I
did
just
the
know
same
he
thing.
keeps pushing that like crazy.
for every
I
student,
made
no
them
matter what
negotiate.
how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion every 10 years, because the government doesn't have to pay.
And then
the
you
global
gave it to
prices.
Ukraine.
I'm going to make that available to every senior.
What's the problem though? Anytime the
All-
government gets
all
into
along
paying for
that's happening
anything,
now,
prices
and
go
everybody
up.
in America. He wants to get rid
Yeah.
of that.
That's why schooling
wanna
is so
make sure that we
freaking
have
expensive
childcare.
now.
We're going to significantly
Subsidizing.
increase the credits people have for childcare. I'm going to make sure
More
we do
credits, more
something
free
about
money,
what we're
more
doing
inflation.
on lead pipes and all the things that are
Oh yeah,
causing health
they
problems.
still have not
for people
resolved
across
the
the
issue in
country.
Flint, Michigan.
We're
By
going
the
to
way,
continue
have
to
not.
fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden.
You
President
caused
Trump,
the
you now have 2
inflation.
minutes for your closing statement.
God.
Like so
Like he
many
doesn't understand.
politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do, all he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again,
That is a true
Ukraine
statement.
should have never happened. He talks
I
about
like how
all
he
this
keeps
stuff. We
pushing
didn't
it.
do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done,
All the
nobody's ever,
jobs Joe
you've
Biden
never
put
seen
in
anything like,
is
even from a medical standpoint, right to try.
for
where we can
regular
try
Americans, American
space-age
citizens,
materials instead
it's
of going
almost
to Asia
0%.
or going to Europe and trying to
They're
get
all going to
when you're
illegals.
terminally ill. Now you
and
can
they're all
go and you
part-time
can get
jobs.
something. You sign a document. they've
Full-time
been trying
jobs
to
are
get
also
it
nearly
for
zero.
Any
42
numbers coming out of the
years
government,
created.
period,
You know what we
are
did for the
inflated.
military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts.
I don't
now
think
on
anybody
CNN.
gives a shit about what Anderson
it?
Cooper. Yeah, that was it.
All right,
And,
well, I'm gonna take a pee break. Then we'll be back live and finish up.
Well, I'm not breaking the live thing, so I guess I'm just gonna have to.
You're just gonna talk to yourself, buddy. See what
There
Anderson,
you go.
see what Anderson Cooper's gonna say.
I don't want to.
Yeah, they're gonna say some shit like Biden.
Well,
won.
well,
You're-
good. Just
listen
go.
to it for a minute.
Just go and get back, Kevin. Just go. All right. So
People?
anybody watching on YouTube, what'd y'all
President and
think?
former presidents
thinking?
making their way off the CNN debate
I am
stage.
glad
Just like,
also that it
Jill
wasn't
Biden,
a
the First
total
Lady,
shit show,
has
Jay
come
Red.
out, former President Trump walking off the stage. The first debate of the 2024 campaign.
Do you think
and the
Biden
earliest
did good?
presidential
Do you
debate
think
ever now
Trump did
in
good? Do you
books
think
and in
anybody
front of
faltered?
the
Do you think
voters.
anybody
Tonight,
could have
along with
done
Aaron
better?
Burnett, the first word
Obviously,
on what those voters might
I'm
make of it from our
asking a
political
couple,
professionals,
you
from our
know,
CNN Flash poll and swing
obvious
state
questions
focus group.
because
We'll be
Biden could
talking
have
to
done
surrogates,
better in
including
some.
Vice
But
President Harris,
what do you
getting
think of
fact
Trump's
checks from Daniel
performance?
Dale and new reporting from
Let
inside
us know
both
in the
campaigns. We'll be
comments.
here. CNN political commentator Scott Jennings, Kate Bedingfield, David Irving,
Can't
Van
wait
Jones,
to.
Alyssa
Well, we're
Farr
probably not
Griffin,
going to
and Newsnight
stick around
anchor
much
Abby
longer
Phillip,
after
David
Kevin gets
Axelrod,
back. But
and CNN
I do want to
Chief
get your
National
guys'
Correspondent John
comments.
King.
So
John, let
anybody
me
still
start with you.
watching,
Your
comment
thoughts.
below. Matt, I haven't heard from you in a while.
This was a game
If you're
changer
watching,
debate
speak
in
up,
the
buddy.
sense
What'd you
that right
think?
now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues right now.
Oh,
It involves party strategists, it involves elected officials, it involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal,
You know
which
what?
they think will hurt
If,
other people down the party.
anybody say
in the
anything?
ticket, and they're having conversations about what they should do about it.
you know what I'm
Some
kind
of
of
those
wondering
conversations
is
include, should we go to the White House and ask
what
the
are the
president to step
chances
aside?
after this
Others
performance?
Other of the conversations
of,
are about should prominent
Ain't gonna
Them trying to
beat
Democrats
this.
push-
I
go
don't give a shit.
with that call.
but them
because they
having
feel this
to them
debate was
trying
so
to
terrible.
boot Biden. I mean, if you boot Biden, I just unless this
Who are you going to
country's-
put in though? That's the problem. Who are you going to put in?
Yeah, unless you just go totally. I
It's
mean,
got to be
doesn't matter.
Kamala, right? I mean, that's the only.
Uh,
I
she has
know.
no chance.
No, she has 0% chance of winning. I mean, who would you put in? I just don't know. I don't. Maybe Michelle Obama. I guess I don't know.
There's some. Okay, there you go. No, I mean they kind of said that Michelle Obama definitely does not. She doesn't like politics. She likes being rich and living the lavish life they have. I mean,
Yeah.
Obama's into it because it's his, his legacy.
Yeah. Maybe we'll go on Facebook next time too.
Oh, we can. Yeah, I don't care.
If we had more viewers then maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we're just starting out live. This is our first live, actual, real live broadcast.
Yeah, and look
that's
at
not
this background,
fooling around
everybody.
and.
Look at it. It's pretty awesome.
We may end up actually start doing a live show once a week and then just releasing an audio podcast on Mondays. that might be the way we end up going.
Oh yeah, because this will. Yeah. So
This worked out. Like they've changed some things with the software we use, and to where we couldn't really make the show our own. It's not exactly as good as I would like it, but you know, it's not. It's better
not
than
horrible.
It was. We've kind of been able to make it our show. So
Yeah. So it's more us.
yes.
So
Yeah, I thought it was a good debate. I think Trump obviously won. Anyone who doesn't think he won is probably gotten. Well, I don't know. They set the stakes so damn like Trump had to do awesome, and Biden had to not die.
well, I think all Trump had to do was not, just be crazy Trump like he was in the first debate in 2020.
Yeah.
So did you close out the live feed period?
No.
Or not the live feed, but your
Yeah.
second.
Why did you still want it on?
No, it just blinked again. So
I don't know what's going on. This is our first live feed, Kevin.
yeah, Jared said
Whatever
it was more-
side we have.
It was more of a debate than an argument, and I think that's true. And I think Trump obviously won. I think he was the better candidate.
Yeah, I did
uh,
like that though. Like I do, like
Weirdly,
We ran
I liked
into-
how they did it.
yeah, we ran into a lot of that in Republican primaries where there is way too much cross chatter and talking over people, and it's like that's not what people just give everybody the time. Now we had so many candidates in the primary, which I don't even know why the hell they all ran, but whatever.
Yeah,
But give the people time to talk, go back and forth, and that's all you need to do.
yeah. I think really the only person who really had a chance was probably DeSantis or Haley, maybe.
Yeah,
Were the rhinos out there?
I would agree.
But even then, I mean, it was pretty clear pretty early on that people wanted Trump back.
Yeah, there is no way anybody was going to. I think DeSantis actually shot himself in the foot for any future presidential run.
I don't know.
Maybe
I think still
down the
2028
road, but-
I still think 2028 is probably his best shot. I don't think there's a better Republican out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
It's
I don't
kind
think
of
there's.
it's rough when you're number two.
Yeah, I just don't
You
think
tend to
there's a-
get passed over.
I just don't think there's a better Republican out there. He's still running Florida. Awesome.
What about you, Veg Rotten Salami?
He's all right. I just still don't understand.
He's got the hair, plus he's got a used car with an extended warranty that he is willing to sell you today.
I don't think that anybody. I don't know if Hindu. I heard Honda. Not if I could put it together. I don't think a Hindu is going to Hinduan. I don't know. Is going to win the presidency.
So you're saying the United States is full of racists?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm thinking they're not Christians for sure.
no.
It's,
I don't know.
It's hard for a
Hinduism.
predominantly Christian
He's a
nation,
Hindu,
especially
Hinduism.
a predominantly Christian party, to go against that grain.
Oh, that's true. But yeah, well, it doesn't matter if Trump gets reelected and he does a good job. Like we've said on the show before, I think he will become a kingmaker, and I think he will be able to pick who the next president will be.
Yeah, I just hope it's not. Some of the candidates he endorses sometimes are not the best.
I don't think it
Just-
matters. If he gets reelected, comes in, settles the world down, turns the country around, I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, I'm just
No,
saying.
a lot of the
sometimes
people-
his judgment is not the
Is
greatest.
it his judgment or people that have told him
Sometimes
these are
I
the
think,
people you're supposed to
you,
like?
you said it earlier. Trump absorbs what people say, but he does what he does.
Well, yeah.
Trump
The
does what he
one
does.
thing is you can never trust a politician. So.
No, Trump does likes people who bootlick a little.
Yeah.
He's not going to go against somebody who gives him any criticism.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just not.
That is true, but I think anybody who says Trump did not win this tonight's debate is a liar.
They are liars.
That's right. And you know what? We probably should have had our couple other segments that we're going to have to wrap into the other shows. So, but you didn't pick one out. So
For what?
just the little segments we do on the show. So we don't have
I can
Trump
do it real
truth.
quick.
And we don't have a. You know what? I think we do need to wrap this episode up with the white slur of the week, Kevin. So you're gonna have to look one up. For those of you who may not watch to the end of every show, in order to enlighten people, just to make sure that you're not being talked crap to, we always bring up a new white slur of the week, and they're generally more entertaining and funny than anything. But we try to end every show with one, and Kevin chose to run this episode today, so
I'm just trying. Hold on.
he's failing.
Well, I didn't know we're doing this until you just said it.
Well, you should have known because we always do it. We have 2 viewers right now, Kevin, that are missing out because you're total lack of an
I
unprofessional.
can't do honky because you already did it. Did we do Salt Demon?
I don't know. Maybe. I would think so. You're a salty demon.
What about Mayo Monkey?
Yeah, I think we've done all the obvious ones. Ah, you're ruining the show, Kevin.
Listen, I can't remember what we did and what we didn't do. You can't just throw this on me in the last minutes of the show. Be like, why didn't you do it? You're dumb. I'm not dumb. I'm
Setting you up.
It's not.
Setting you up, Mr. Does Very Little.
I know. It says it right there. I don't know why you think I want to do more than I have to.
You just scroll through the list, find a word you don't recognize, and go with that one.
It's hard for me. I can't find the list anymore. Is the problem.
It's slurs.org.
That's not what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, but it's not. It might be.
Oh.
.info. Slurs.info.
Oh.
Let's find the white one. I ain't doing with Abe Lincoln.
Man, I'm still blinking. I need to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's worse when you.
All I know is the problem is not with my computer.
It's something. It's not your computer. I think it's your internet.
I have
That's
a
all
hard line.
Nope, not going to use that one.
That seems horrendously inappropriate. Let's see.
No, can't use that one either.
Just find one already.
It is super. Well, everyone's like, ooh, what is that? Beecher. Beecher is a slur used to describe whites in a derogatory way. For white people who kowtow to black people or racist white people, derived from the show Oz on HBO, where the character Beecher was raped and sodomized by blacks and white racists. They're racist whites.
Oh, there you go. That was your white slur of the week.
That's right, everybody. White slur of the week.
You got anything else other than I think Trump obviously won?
Yeah, no, Trump won. Biden surprisingly made it all the way through. He looked weird.
He didn't
The whole
instill any
time?
confidence in me as a world leader.
No, he looked
That
like
is not what I think when I look at him.
the blank stares and weird faces were very, very disturbing.
Yes.
So that's it.
All
So
right.
thanks everybody for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, share, and rate us 5 stars. That's all I got. Thanks, Josh, for doing this and sharing your live stream and doing all the hard work. And thanks, Kevin, for doing very little. Speaking of Kevin, that's who I am. And you are.
I'm Josh.
And this was the Lost Art of Common Sense.
Common sense, baby.
Common Sense.
Common sense.
Common Sense. Buy our shit.
That's right. Don't forget, don't be boring. Be a pirate. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.